Hey, peace, power, and profit, everybody. See if I can see these comments. All right. Welcome to Urban Economic Empowerment Show, and I hope you guys can hear me because I can't see. See if I can see the comments. Where are you, Chris? All right, y'all getting ready. It's New Year's Eve. This is your last final 6 hours to the new year. Hope you're ready. 2026 coming in, busting the doors in. Okay. All right. What we gonna talk about? What we gonna do? Wait for Chris. Come on here, Chris. Share some information. Give me a second. So much has happened. Let me see. Thank you to everybody who donated to my bikes. We donated 31 bikes to young people this season. Yep. So where is he at? Can't get off. So so much happens in 2025 that I don't even. I need to figure out a chronological order to talk about it. Waiting for Chris, Brandon, where they at? They wanted to go live. Um, well, until they come on, I can tell you, you guys need to be getting. I know you about to go turn up somewhere, but they get your taxes ready to go and prepared and ready to file on time. I'm ready to file mine. Here, don't wait. Hopefully, you're not backed up, and you have all of your paperwork in order to file. You know, you remember January, if you guys owe student loans, they supposed to be drafting. If you're in default, they coming after your paycheck wages. So hopefully you all already contacted the Department of Education and came up with some type of payment plan. I would hate to see half your check going due to student loans. And you know, once they start garnishing, it takes a long time to adjust. So I hope you figured that out by now. So let's see what else has changed. So there's been some changes. Some of the certification programs have changed. Oop, is it? What's up, Chris?
Yo, what up, Mo?
Chris, can you hear me?
Yeah,
Can you hear me?
yeah.
Oh, so what we
What's
talking
up?
about
What's
this
going?
evening?
What we
Happy
gonna do for
end of
2026?
2025.
Uh-huh. Damn. I take
Give us a recap of
yeah, yeah. We can do that. And
where, where
you said, well, who?
Brandon.
Oh, I don't know. I told him and Price to pull up though.
Yeah. So it's the
Uh,
end of the year. I'm sure you have some good recap to talk about. in reference to the market.
Yeah. Um. Yeah. A whole lot of recap. I ain't gonna lie. I've been more in the textbooks than anything else. Um.
I know, right?
Yeah. So I'm taking my exam next week.
Ooh, I'm
Uh.
right behind you.
What you doing? A cybersecurity again?
What you taking?
Series 66.
Ooh, Series 66, big ballers. Shit.
Yeah.
I'm I'm only gonna be taking ISC Square, and then hopefully right after that I could take the Security Plus. I've been studying my butt off trying to retain that information, and it's not like
Yeah.
it's difficult information. I just have to get into the test taking, you know.
Yeah.
So that may.
Cause it was mostly, you said it was mostly definitions, right?
Yeah, but I got a good concept down now on how to study. So shoot, I take my exam on the 12th. Got a couple people in my class already passed, but of course they probably retain that information way better than me. But I do have a good thing to study it. That what so the website that we studied, even though it has the study material,
Yeah.
um, the exam was a little different. So we found this one guy who has some practice exam and it's broken up into like 15-minute segments, and then he break out, you know, why the other answers weren't correct. And so, and then how he explains it, it gives you a better of understanding of what they're asking you. So we've been studying him for a while. So I've gotten a lot better. You know, it's 5 sections. I have 3 sections down packed. Two of them I have to get a little stronger in, and it's not because I don't know the content. It's just that the answers are so close. You know,
Yeah.
it keeps kind of tripping me up. So this time I said I'm gonna make sure I study my 10 days leading up, and I should be better prepared. Um, so because I'm supposed to be actually starting the studying the Security Plus exam. I'm supposed to be starting that right now.
Okay. That's what's up.
And so, yes, this all ties into economics because we are trying to elevate our skill sets so that
Yep.
we can be relevant in the economic world. So, if you all don't see that, then hey, I can't help you.
Completely agree.
And
Uh,
Chris is busting that Series 66. Go ahead.
yeah, that's a dual registration role. So not only is that an investment advisor representative, that's also a broker dealer agent. So you give advice and then you affect securities transactions. So you buy and sell stocks for customers as well. So uh, I ain't gonna lie, these exams are they tough. They're tough. Um, oh shit. Oh my damn. Hold on. You hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah. Yeah, these exams are tough. So um it's not about it's really about state law, like what you can and what you can't do. Um conflicts of interest, knowing your customer, uh, providing the best advice that's legal.
Hmm.
Um just knowing rules and stuff like that. And you know, so it's really just a competency exam to, test your competency on that information. But yeah, I'm ready to pass this thing, man, so I can
Yeah,
get it all done. But definitely gonna need to build our skill sets for sure going into the
yeah,
new year. We don't know where this economy is gonna go, but we still got to stay ready to keep from getting ready. And
Shit, you better stay ready to keep from being hungry.
yeah, hey, yeah,
Ready is an understatement. You better
uh,
be able
yeah,
to fulfill
okay,
another role.
right. No, that's true story. True
Shit,
story. Okay, African Emporium about to come on.
that's cool.
I sent them the link. So he said he got a little time, but yeah. So man, like also, studying this material mode is, the fundamental differences like between our people and other ethnic groups, like just from the ground level. We don't know you know a whole bunch about an estate, a trust, revocable or irrevocable trust, why you need one. um what kind of, if you wanted to start a business, like what kind of business do you want? Do you want a corporation, or do you want a partnership, or do you want a sole proprietorship? Do you want to limit your taxes? Do you want to protect your personal assets? um do are you big enough to incorporate yourself to become a corporation, where you have people that scattered across the nation or even the globe to want to invest in your business and your vision? How do you do that? Like, how do you differentiate between a C corp, a S corp, a LLC, a general partnership, a limited
Well,
partnership, stuff like that. Um,
well,
and
a lot of
even
individuals
life
are
insurance.
grassroots. And
Yeah.
yeah, I would say the first tackle would be the life insurance, and then
Yep.
a lot of the businesses are starting very grassroots. Only the ones who have skills, those trade skills, are making money where they think about sustainable growth. The rest of them just just to say they have a business, and a lot of them
Hmm.
don't even forecast their products or for sales or understand how to stay relevant with sales
Right.
to make money. And then for the people who for trust and things of that nature, they live in check to check and they can't see their way out. And so saving a little, convincing them to save $5 is like pulling teeth. But you gotta
Hmm.
do it though. You know,
Gotcha.
it's like
Yep.
you have to do it to get to. Unless you want, I think that we said COVID should have opened up the eyes to a lot, but I would say now on that small scale, the shutdown should have really given people, um, especially those who lost government jobs,
Hmm.
understanding that you have to save. You don't have a choice because you're not exempt, and at
Right.
any day you could be put in a situation. And for the very fact that some people aren't making it to like a retirement pension, that you have to get into these mindsets. And so, here they've started. I noticed they start doing a lot of retirement classes.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, I thought it was interesting. I'll pull it up. I can't do it right now, but I'll have to
Yeah.
share it with you when I get to a computer. But um, when I saw it, I thought about you immediately. I was like, man, Chris talk about estate planning all the time and retirement. And so in Lexington, at the library I think every weekend they do a retirement class, you know. And so I mean, I'm not sure what prompted, but I know that's something that I guess they're trying to get out in the airways to say, hey, you need to be thinking about your future.
Yeah.
And for the fact that in this isn't this the last this is the last This is the last the Medicaid extension. This is the last go round. So if they don't extend that, your home health care, in home health care, your elderly, how they pay for. I know they're already starting to see the impacts of premiums with health insurance, but
Right.
also with your those individuals who was getting support for in home health care or maybe independent living or things of that nature. I think that's going to be impacted. I'm not sure
Mm-hmm.
how much yet, but I know I've helped to help um some people who I know that's older than me that wasn't
Yeah.
prepared for those premium changes. Let me put
Right.
this thing on my Apple Pay. Apple Pay.
Mm-hmm.
CarPlay. Both. Disconnect my CarPlay.
Oh, okay. You don't know where you at?
Headed to the bus station.
Oh, okay.
Hold on.
Um,
I need to take it off.
I got a realtor coming on too, Mo,
That's
if
cool.
you don't mind. That's my girl. She from Louisiana.
See how I can take it off.
Um,
Damn, I forgot how to disconnect it.
oh,
Yeah, but you see where I'm going with that? How
yeah.
things have, just the way, like you said, things are changing so very quickly that even what we need to know, now you not just need to know it, you also have to be prepared for where you are. Like we just, we have some major changes because we just lost two contracts. So for
Mm-hmm.
those individuals who that's gonna affect, that's gonna be a major change because you know what happened in the contract world when you when one contractor if when a new contractor comes in, they don't have to
Mm-hmm.
pay you where you are. They can pay you the minimum.
Right.
So you're talking about $3 to $4 difference. That's a big you know
Yeah, that's a
that's
big
a
difference.
yeah that could cause some major damages amongst some people. Hey, peace, power, and profit, African Emporium.
My brother.
Happy end of the year.
Hello, hello, beautiful people. What's going on? Peace, power, and
Peace,
profit,
power,
everyone.
peace, power, and profit, my brother.
How y'all
Whoop
doing,
whoop.
man?
We
Y'all
good.
enjoying this pre-New Year, new
Yeah,
calendar, New Year?
right on.
Good to see you guys. Good to hear your voices.
For sure, man. It's been a while. Good to hear you, man.
Hey, likewise. It's
Yeah.
always, feel humble, when we come amongst each other. And I was messaging Sister Shaniqua. She was sending her end of the year kind of salutations out to everyone too. And I was just letting her know, man, this is a good time to kind of, you know, do my round robins as well. Because I know people
Right.
are going to be out enjoying themselves or whatever, and feeling in a good mood. So I feel like it's a good way to get an energy boost and share that love, pay it forward.
Right. Real talk. Real
And
talk.
happy belated birthday, Miss Mo. I know you just had a birthday too.
Whoop whoop.
This is
Yeah,
that season. It's a lot of babies in December.
you know it. You know it. Definitely turned over that golden leaf.
Yeah, that's it.
I'm ready
Still a
though.
young lady.
I'm ready. I'm definitely ready. I know I was in a nest line. This guy, his birthday was the same day as mine, and I probably got him by like I don't know 25 years or so. And he was like, "Wait a minute, how old are you again?" I said, "Yep." He was like, "There's no way." I said, "Yeah, I don't want to mess up my life."
Hey, you know what? That's good health and wealth, man. Health and wealth.
Real talk.
That is beautiful, man. So I know you guys are building as always. I'm always in listening and learning mode as well. And you kind of just you guys doing like a little recap too of the year.
Yeah, we were sharing.
Yeah.
We started off sharing where we are. I've been
Hmm.
studying cybersecurity, and Chris has been studying for Series 66.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's been a great year for accomplishments. Again, although I know I haven't been live, there's a lot of stuff been going on in and around my camp. I'm sure you guys know at this point, but
Hmm.
I always kind of, cheer and root for you guys from afar sometimes, or I was just given the situation. And a lot of things have been accomplished this year. Opportunities. I've seen a lot of people doing some great things. If it's just, being able to take a lot of what they've been learning to the next level, expanding on what they've gotten from, all the research and, putting the time in, being, obviously diligent and trying to, expand their scenarios. It's been nothing short of amazing. I've been seeing a lot of people just like, yeah, I've turned over that new leaf as well. I've grown. I've come into a place where I'm a little bit more comfortable. And we live by the old adage, small things, right? It's the small things that continue to keep you out. I should say excited about growth. So
Right.
it's nothing short of that, man. You guys been kicking butt, and taking names. I can truly attest to that.
Absolutely. Yeah. Mo been Mo been working in the background as she always do. Secret society.
You say the secret society, you fired. Hey, I can tell you
So
one thing though. I had tried to, the whole time we have been talking about, take these baby steps when investment go away, invest where you are, put away what you can when you can. And
Yeah.
this whole year, when people started losing their, I think I was just somebody had just offered me a federal job, and then like within a month or so, federal jobs start going away, and
Yeah.
a lot of people started panicking, that you would normally think that would. And so, and I would tell them, and they'd be like, "Why you always so calm?" And I was like, "Man, I'm so glad I started putting that couple bucks away. Cause let me tell you something. I started opening up them brokerage accounts. I was like, shoot, I forgot about that. I forgot about that.
Yes,
You know,
ma'am.
you start peeping into them little corners or whatnot.
Yeah.
I think I even had a boo boo account out there somewhere.
Yep.
And then
Yep.
worse, when you posted about the precious metals, about the gold, the platinum, the silver, the aluminum, or whatever,
yeah.
I had a one gold account. I had to go check. I was like, what's crazy
Mm-hmm.
is that even when you tell, even when you share, pay attention to what's going on around you. Make sure saving and investing is always at your forefront. And then when you have to make adjustments or you have to move around, don't be afraid of change and don't try to fight it. Just go with the flow or whatnot. And I think even when I started studying, I actually started studying the cybersecurity to teach, to train on it because I knew like there was a lot of younger people in my family that's not really paying attention, that's gonna lose college money and all this other extra stuff, and
Yeah.
that's gonna need to learn a new skill set. And so when given the opportunity, I was like, oh, I'll come train on learn how to do the entry level, and if I could teach it, and you guys can move to more advanced in the cyber world, then I could teach them and help them get another skill set and then get to where they are. Shoot, I come to find out I had all type of people around me that was in the cybersecurity world that were
Mm-hmm.
making really good money on the entry level.
Yeah.
So I got ghosts for a little bit from the live streams because I wanted to make sure I could get that entry level down, while still putting them dollars away. But boy, it sure came in handy. I can tell you that.
Right.
That is
You know.
so true. And that's the great thing about it too, because I would definitely pay, comments to that too, as well. But definitely over Chris, you were very adamant in sharing the mindset of being, open up multiple accounts. Why wouldn't you, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because the great thing about it is now that we look back, we say, well, okay, the incentives were great because at the time, let's say, 2017, 2018, while a lot of these brokers began to really expand, all these new companies came into a foray, they were offering a lot of great incentives to sign up with them, right? They was giving out free stock, they was giving out, no exchange fees for what they were back then, which is basically zero now. But nonetheless,
Yeah.
it gave people the opportunity to see that this was not some kind of, overly intricate process to be able to gain access to the capital markets, right? It's just open up a brokerage account, which
Right.
is a lot easier and faster than that of a bank account, right? No screening. If you got money to fund it, you're good to go. And
Facts.
so, and it just goes back to one of those moments I was thinking about that, Sister Monica, when you was doing doing the scholarship stuff, and we were trying to find questions to, offer to the participants, and just understanding the greatness of which is better, FINRA or FDIC, right? I'm a FINRA kid at heart.
Mhm.
I just welcome the idea of that, because it gave people a sense of understanding where they might have felt like they was handicapped by not knowing a lot of the base stuff about investing, but having that account was the entry level in itself. It forces you to want to learn because you have access to money, right? Access to opportunity. So who knew it pays off, right? You have all those accounts open up, and you have a little coin here, a little 50 here, a little 100 here, a little 1,000 here, and over time, what happens? Interest.
Yep.
Interest happens.
Yep.
If you had one or two assets, and it doesn't matter, just interest begin to happen. And that in itself is just a great problem to have, when you just forget that you have accounts out there that are just sitting with money. So
Facts.
yeah,
Hey,
it's awesome.
people need to be food. That food insecurity start kicking in, and people that have food, this, that, or whatever. I'm like, ooh, wee, boy, y'all, this is gonna be the perfect time of the year for y'all to understand what happened and how you can get back ahead or change up some things, make some changes in your life. Grassroots, entry level, college, even a changing of the degree, changing of the degree classification, how much you get to borrow, getting ready to draft student loans out your paycheck if you in default. Like, it's gonna be some major changes, you know, for some folks.
Yeah.
But in the same sense, if you get ahead of it and start to plan out, you could at least live a leveled lifestyle.
Hmm.
Um, it's hard to sometimes you used to feel bad for the people who just weren't doing nothing, but now you got individuals who you thought knew better who are in that same boat, and you're like, oh man, now we gotta train you too.
Yeah. Policy is
So we,
something else. It's
yeah,
very, again, it's the enigma of understanding how we always
yep,
value being able to have multiple opportunities, in front of
yes.
you, multiple irons in the fire, we would say, because you don't want to be dependent upon one source of
Don't get complacent.
source of income. Exactly,
Yes,
right?
yes. Don't
And
get complacent. That's what it reminds me of.
Right.
yeah, yeah. Again, those especially those young people who are coming into the like you guys definitely been following, like we have too, even before, we have these administration changes, and the condition of getting young people to realize that their growth doesn't lie in policy alone, right? It has a benefit if you are in a specific need of it, i.e., government, work and contracts, and state legislation values that happen to, canvas you and what you're trying to do as a professional. But ultimately, in our mindset and goal was always to get people to realize that you don't need to be dependent on none of that. When you become
Nothing.
your own independent banker, being your own independent investor,
Right.
you break that mold. You break that generation mold of thinking that you have to be a worker bee, or you have to wait on someone else to provide you growth and opportunity, which is just, I mean, it's a false narrative,
Right.
given that, by typical nature, self-preservation teaches us how to go engage other people to find ways to eat, right?
Hmm.
From a basic level. But, a lot of things just, people get bogged down by feeling that you got to, impress other people, or they kind of live up to their parents, aspirations. And it's a lot. But I just welcome and celebrate those young people who took a stand and say, I want to do something different. I want to, not be bogged down by one, particular profession only. And investing, became the most agile, opportunity for a lot of these young kids. And we think about it now, because a lot of those kids that were back in those discourse back in 2017, and we used to come on and watch those urban economic empowerment
Uh-huh.
shows. Look where they're at today. They had a great entry level back then. Now they have a strong understanding of why investing is important.
Right.
Right? You can't take that away from them.
Yeah, I was listening to some podcasts and it was funny because they were like, "Man, I can't get my teenager. I try to get them prepared and ready for college, and they over there talking about they want to invest. They're doing this, and I'm like, what are you doing? That's like, y'all just don't even understand.
Hmm.
Those kids that got a taste of making some money. They're not
Hello.
concerned about that.
Right.
They,
That's tangible opportunities set in front of them right now. And you encompass that with some great skill sets and patience and building with discipline. You know what that's going to do. It's like when you say, well, okay, well, every kid that during our time frame, we used to look forward to an allowance, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's like an escrow for opportunity or things that you can do to build upon, being able to receive that payout at the end of the week. If you did some simple chores, this, that, and the third, it just teach you how to be disciplined, right? But it's the same mindset when you become an adult or a young adult and you're trying to understand how to navigate money, right? Paying yourself first, right? And that being in the form of an investment, something that has a reinvestment, protocol, right? Like a drip, right, so to speak, dividend reinvestment program, so to speak.
Right.
But that's the smartest thing you could do. So Stash became a monumental opportunity for these people to see that,
yes,
reoccurring investments. You don't have to do nothing as long as you can keep $4 or $5 in your account. If you're trying to do a small, if you're doing a bigger than that, 100 plus, and just let it happen. Because I'd rather they take the money out and it goes towards that than it goes towards some old bill or app, something that you barely use. They just constantly, take the money out your account.
Yeah.
And so it teach you how to
say that
prioritize, and
again.
it teach you how to prioritize, and that's why I say it's a good problem to have when you figured out that you lost accounts that had money still sitting in them. That's a good problem to have.
Man, that Fidelity account, I was like, oh my god. Um, Also with gaming, someone was complaining about their child gaming, but the child's making money, membership in their YouTube accounts, and their subscriptions is up, and they making them YouTube dollars out there. I'm like, y'all better, what you should be doing is telling your child, hey, you need me to hold the camera or something. You know, you want me to
Yeah,
read the chat for you?
yeah.
But
I mean, the
that right.
custodian accounts has changed the game. Now it's easy to even
Oh
open
yeah,
up a custodian account. These brokerages, they want access. They want opportunity
yep.
to, hold and help navigate people's growth in money,
Right.
And so
I
the
think
incentive
Stash got
programs are still
insurance
there.
now, ain't it? No, Stash has insurance now.
They've grown so much. Stash is definitely growing.
Hmm.
And
Right.
which we knew would happen, eventually, because these portals were just, among many that were, really getting people, it started at a time where I think the big boom really happened in terms of this so-called millennial generation. A little bit post COVID or pre COVID, but definitely during COVID, it was crazy.
Yeah.
All those young people who were right at graduation, level, high school, when COVID hit, 4, 5, 6 years later, imagine where they at now after sitting home having to learn things that were just, you know, how to create a way out of no way by sitting on the internet. And what was the most prominent tools during that time were what? Investment, you know, basically investment videos,
Yeah.
investment live stream, anything had to do with investing, that was huge.
Yeah.
So I just say hats off to all those people who took a chance and said, you know what, this is worth my time sitting in front of a screen and learning. I applaud those young people today because they're now the ones sitting at the front of this AI revolution. In terms of how this is going to be their next so-called Microsoft or Apple back in the day.
Right.
It's great. What's going on, over Brandon? Over Brandon in the building. I see you.
What's up, B?
What
What's
up, man?
happening, y'all?
What's
Can y'all hear
good?
me?
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
How's it going, man?
Man, it's going, man. When wisdom speak, you be quiet and listen. That's why I was over here just ear hustling for a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Man, you
I'm in the midst of some awesome people, man. I'm here to soak up some game and learn myself. And I tell you, man, it's great, man. It's great.
Thanks.
definitely is. How you guys been?
Whose name is Taylor? Wait a minute. Y'all know it's Taylor. I didn't put the. Oh, that must be Chris. Is that your friend?
Huh?
Kayla?
Kayla. Taylor?
Kayla.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
She's a realtor in Louisiana. So I just wanted her to come on and she tell us about her being a realtor and people who are interested in buying a house, what they need to do and all that stuff. So I know
Hey,
over
Miss
is
Taylor.
too. I know
Hey
I
y'all,
A.
was
how
gonna,
y'all doing?
girl, I was about to boot you right up out of here. I was like, wait a minute. I don't know who that is. How you doing this
Hey,
evening?
how you doing, ma'am?
Good, how are y'all?
Yeah.
I'm good. Yes.
Good, good.
Awesome.
Tell us a little about what you do. Hello? Oh, is my mic on or what?
We can hear you. She's on mute.
Oh, Taylor, you gonna get off mute or what?
I can't really hear you guys. I'm sorry. I think it's my connection.
Oh,
All right, I moved closer to my router. I'm sorry, guys. What did y'all say?
okay. I asked you to tell us a little about yourself and what you do.
So I'm 31. I'm a real estate agent for the state of Louisiana. I represent like the North Louisiana region from like Monroe to Little Letter Shreveport. And I've been a real estate agent. This is going on my 4th year full time. And I ended the year with closing 44 deals, which is pretty exciting. And I was able to make my first 6 figures ever this year and get out of debt. So this has been like the best year in real estate I've ever had.
Congrats, congrats.
Congratulations. That's an awesome
Congratulations.
feat.
Thank you so much.
So, um, how was the process? And I think African Emporium probably can speak about this too, and Mo a little bit. I don't know about Brandon, but when a person wants to buy a house, like what do you do as a realtor? How does that process work?
When a person wants to buy a house, I mean, every agent does it differently. A lot of agents out there just automatically send you, like, okay, you want to buy a house, get pre approved. But I have recognized very early on that we don't have the education or background or even have the familial history of people buying a house. So I don't send them just straight to a bank. I actually like to meet with them like a year beforehand, before they actually start shopping, because I want to get their credit together. I want them to know their options, their grant assistance programs out there. I want them to know the realistic landscape of what it looks like to buy a house. So every first step starts with a consultation of us basically addressing your needs and wants in a house, your budget, and also, but most importantly, what your financials look like right now and what they need to look like in order for you to get the best loan possible for the budget you want.
Can anybody attest to that?
That's a great entryway into again being able to build a great, database. And right now the realtor market as a whole has been also monumental, if you ask me, going through a great metamorphosis with the new AI expansion. Because
Mm-hmm.
now with that, you're getting whole spreadsheets in seconds that
Mm-hmm.
would take data collectors and months and months to compile a lot of different things when it comes to all these different parameters when it comes to buying a home, from the demographics to the layout of land to EPA concerns, schools. I mean, so it's so much more better now, I think, for realtors,
Mm-hmm.
where they don't have to sit there and have two or three people they have to depend on to get data about you know certain again subdivisions, whatever, to offer
Mm-hmm.
that to their clients. They can do all that stuff from their own within their own right now,
For sure.
by having access to the AI, which grants you the ability to canvas a lot of those people who don't have the time to do that kind of data compiling, which is a lot easier than it used to be, and
Mm-hmm.
you can present things to clients a lot easier now.
For sure.
And I think that's a great win for you guys, and I'm pretty sure you leveraging it. I
Oh,
can hear from the way you speaking that you're kind of already using those things to your advantage.
yes.
And it's only going to get better because again, as AI expands, it only makes it much better. Our nemesis is always going to be obviously what interest rates. We're beholden to government, and
Mhm.
bad or good fiscal policy to open up those channels to get more people excited about wanting to buy.
Mhm.
And now that we're in our cutting cycle, I'm sure we're gonna stall out next month more than likely. But nonetheless, we already cracked open, 3/4 basis points already, which is great than it used to be. But I'm sure it's going to get better for you, and that's great. I'm excited that I love hearing about what realtors are doing and more ways that they're learning how to navigate and keep their clients, and find more clients, to keep them ready, for opportunities that may come up, afforded to them.
I agree.
And I admire the fact of introducing them to the grant programs because there's plenty of program for first time home buyers, especially
Mhm.
programs, career ready type home buying grants available. County first time buy grants. Matter of fact, here in Carolina, Richland County just did like 2 million in for first time home buyers, and then you got those rural area grants that's available because most
Mhm.
of the time individuals they may be eligible to, but they may not have that down payment, and those grants come in handy.
Oh yeah.
And so that's definitely a good segue to present to first time home to home buyers that are usually get left behind. Not to mention the fact that um, I mean, for me, buying a home was better than renting, but I know a lot of people they love to rent. But then in the same sense, then you have businesses who, we were talking about FINRA and FDIC businesses who are renting facilities or who are getting more into the residential medical business opportunity, which is going to be real big under the big beautiful bill if people haven't paid attention, who
For
are
sure.
looking for property, if not property,
Mhm.
multi-family homes for veterans or for intellectual disability or for
Or
group
just
homes.
the sheer amount of new homeowners that are coming into the market, and we don't have the inventory to meet it. To be honest.
Which is a big
Wow, now
problem
that's a
where it
heavy thought.
was. And I'm saying that maybe because it'll loosen up maybe a little bit, given this sort of scenario that we're dealing with this, kicking people out of the country. A
Mhm.
lot of those houses were purchased obviously under the, government expansions and NGOs that were buying up all these properties, to house people. There are some markets that are starting to free up now from that.
Mhm.
Good, bad, or indifferent. I'm not here to talk politics. I'm here to speak to the idea of opportunities for real estate agents and those who are looking to buy homes who were bogged down by a lot of bureaucratic red tape.
Mhm.
And even with the current administration, they're trying to incentivize homeowners as well. Of course, Trump is pushing for more rate cuts, be it we need them or not. That's another discussion, of course, given
Exactly.
where inflation is at.
Exactly.
But I think they're now just trying to throw everything at the wall, see what sticks, and they're willing to see if inflation will rebound to get people excited about wanting to own homes. Because, there's a lot of ebb and flows, and that's where I enjoy when realtors come into the chat, quote unquote, with people who invest and people who are, market participants and, this, that, and the third, because there's a lot of shared data between the two.
Mhm.
And I find that to be very, very useful, worth leveraging, because you have specialties where information may get lost in translation. You have people to help you unpack that. So again, kudos to the realtors. You guys, y'all came through COVID. That means you file branded. You were showing houses virtual during that time. You learned how to leverage computers and software.
Sure, for sure. But a lot of people got rich during COVID.
They did. We were talking about that before you came on. It was an expansion of knowledge
Exactly.
across the board. Young people, old people got retooled. Everybody got a crash course in upgrading.
And I think I got to speak a little bit because I heard a couple of people mention this, that people aren't excited to buy. And I kind of got to disagree. I feel like the Generation Xers and above, they're not trying to move. I don't blame them. They want to stick with their 2 and their 3%. But the younger generations, like the millennial demographic, is the number one demographic that I'm seeing right now that is moving into this space. They are not letting the news and the media try to obliterate their thoughts and their knowledge now that they're gaining that one way to invest and grow your network is through real estate. And even though the interest rates are sitting at 5.7 to 6%, they're still getting in. And honestly, I really don't want the Feds to cut the rates too much, because I don't want what happened in COVID to happen again. I don't need the rebound effect that the inflation brought, with prices jumping up $50,000 over the course of a year or even months.
That is a good point. And that's where I was alluding to that idea of that, where we're stuck now in this so-called, we've been kicked off with the rate cutting cycle.
Right.
Again, good, bad, or indifferent. They're trying to see what sticks. And it's not the best. If I had to give my perspective as an investor, I would vote against it. Because again, given how we know inflation is, it's a hidden tax, it's erosive.
Oh yeah.
It's very, it's a cinder block for stagnant wages. And
Agreed.
you got to have a prominent, I should say a prominent GDP based upon where you're seeing the Main Street contenders really expand, and not just Wall Street, for that to really work.
Yes.
And I think therein lies the problem for, again, a lot of the young millennials who are getting stumped right now because they can't afford these houses that are sitting at 70, 80% gains. I can attest to that, knock on wood. We just offloaded one of our properties over 120%.
Wow.
And this was the first home we bought. It was a starter. And it just, we did everything right. We refied when necessary, when the rates were like dirt cheap.
Yeah.
We did it exactly right. If there was a turn book way to do it, looking back now in hindsight, it's like, okay, that was an interesting experiment.
Yeah.
And it was a rental. We did the 1 year under the VA loan, and then it turned into a rental, and we never had a downtime with that property. One particular one, and I was just saying, man, and we sold right before the kickoff, happened. We sold, around in the summer of this year. Well, this year still. And it was just right before everything went crazy, in turn. I say crazy, meaning we had that high peak, and then we kind of stagnated a little bit, and now markets are trying to, grapple with interest rate cutting cycles starting to happen. So there are some houses that are still holding their value. These kind of red hot, in real estate areas. And then there's others who are just drastically crashing, i.e. Florida, my home state.
Agreed.
Florida's catching all kind of L's right now. And that's because we know why, though. We kind of know what's going on there.
For sure.
Can you speak to Florida by any chance?
Do I sell in Florida?
No, can you speak to Florida? What do you think about that real estate market?
I honestly can't even speak to it too much. I'm really in just honed into the Louisiana and Texas sector. So that's what I was going to speak on. I think that when it comes to the story of appreciation versus just stagnancy, it's just all about where you are located. I'm hearing horror stories, and I have some referral partners in the Detroit area and Seattle area. Their market is stagnant, if not depreciating. Meanwhile, in Texas and Monroe, the big conglomerate corporations are coming down here, buying up property left and right, and our market is thriving.
Is that because of the data center that's there, though? I mean, that came to Louisiana, the Shreveport area?
Yeah, the data center definitely. There's a new construction community out here, and I think of the 10 that are being built, I think they have 8 of them. But as a realtor, that kind of scares me. Don't get me wrong, the short term money, the quick buck is cool. But when these people leave in 4 to 5 years, I'm very afraid of what it's going to do to just us regular folks.
I can
And,
attest to
and
that
you
because
know,
I actually live in ground zero data centers.
Mm.
It started in
and
my area really bad. Um, is that my phone? I'm getting a
Oh,
lot of feedback.
it's me.
It
I'm
might.
going on mute. It's me. I'm going on mute.
okay.
I didn't know if it was mine. That's still here. Is it?
Let me see.
Can y'all hear me? Is it bad?
Yeah, we can hear you. Over.
Okay. Yeah, I was just kind of second want to attest to that, Sister Taylor there, because I live in the ground zero area, the data centers here in Nova, Northern Virginia. And this whole entire area from Leesburg, Ashburn, literally Ashburn, is now expanded all across down into Manassas area, probably headed out to Gainesville. But this was like ground zero to all the data centers because this particular area, I don't know if you guys are familiar with it or not, but this is considered to be the Silicon Valley of the East Coast, like Reston, Herndon, Ashburn, right, Chantilly area, like that northern Fairfax County area of Virginia. It's loaded here. And I remember a lot of these, large swaths of land that were just being bought up by the data center people, and they just start constructing them. It takes them really no time to even to build these buildings because they base a hollow shell used for service, basically, right? But what we start noticing over the years is the same things you're speaking about, the idea that we don't know the long-term effects of having so much of this, electrical interference and the radio value of it and all these different, issues that could possibly be an issue later when it comes to the cooling of them, which is a big problem here because it pulls a lot of water to cool the data centers. And I can say we kind of had a crash course on that, given that when we came to the crypto boom, a lot of the miners were trying to buy up a lot of properties next to these hydro dams and hydro, ecosystem where they can use the water to help cool out of these server rooms, right? And that was supposed to be the same kind of energy they was using for it with the data center, but it's just a lot of those, spots had already been bought up because nature only has so many wells, water runways that you can attest that are not, protected, so to speak, right? Be it federal or state grounds, they're protected. You can't go any further than where you can go. So, and I'm saying that because there are now cases where people are starting to have issues with them, right? A lot of issues. There's a place down in Georgia as well. They're experiencing it.
Memphis.
Yeah, you guys
Memphis.
heard about that? But the case in Georgia as well, like the people complaining down there as well.
Mm-mm. Can you
But
tell me
yeah,
a little what happened?
what they're starting to realize from it is that number one, electric bills are going up. That's the first problem. So a lot of the data centers, what they did do, they brokered deals with the city and the cities. Because like anything, if they're offering to bring jobs into your jurisdiction, well, the incentive is that you either get a tax break or we're gonna provide, or we'll, spread the cost of the tax for electric, grids to kind of, handle that extra load.
Right.
We spread it among the citizenry. And the benefit will be, well, we'll be able to employ some of these people so to kind of be, you know, a even kill, which is not, because it again, you talk about a lot of people who potentially could work at these data centers, which is next to none because you don't need a lot of people to work in a data center. That was the number one kind of fear that they told. It's not like an Amazon warehouse, right? You only really need a few tech people there to make sure all the I's are dotted and T's are crossing the wires are good, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it was more so based upon the construction of the buildings. They didn't tell the whole story. So electric bills went up, water bills went up. Also, water got polluted. The amount of water churn that it takes to cool a data center is a lot. So a lot of these wells wasn't used to that kind of flux of water pressure and power. So it eroded sediment and other things that got into people's running water. And so they had the same issue that fracking became a big problem with the oil drilling. With natural gas runoff that went into water pipelines.
Yeah.
It began to happen in the cooling centers as well. So, like any great, I don't know, new age construction, where you got to, figure out ways to, iron out the problems. Well, the initial problems are going to be there, and the people who live in those areas are going to have to suffer first. So you always ask yourself, does the benefit outweigh the short-term pain? Well, for a lot of people who are stagnant wages, who are not in the workforce, who are on fixed income, they can't afford to have those kind of problems or, expansion of their bills.
Right.
But I'm speaking it from a place of what I'm seeing and hearing in an area where that's well to do, right? These people up here got money, of course, in their mind, like, well, we should have the best building, the best, best this, that, and this. If you're doing it in a rural area where you're cutting corners, they're not going to have, the proper, oversight, so to speak. So that's just one of many things I've been noticing and witnessing because they're everywhere up here now. I mean, I can tell you, right? Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, Carolina, we got the same issue. They're building that one in Florence, and the billing issues is going to reach as far as Columbia in the area. That's been a big conversation right now. And the contamination of the water, but the deregulation is kicking our butt because the state, they're only looking at the money that they're making and how it's benefiting the state, not the citizens. So, and they took out. So we passed the energy bill, and they took out consumer protection. Hold on, I'm going to take myself off a speaker.
Okay. What up, Price?
So
what's
I
good,
have a
everyone?
question. What's going on, Price? What's up, bro, Price? So I have a question. Does this whole energy play become one of those sitting stocks?
Hey, Brother Price, Peace, Power, and Profit. I didn't know that's who that was. I saw the GA there. I wasn't sure who it was. What's going on?
Hey, what's up, brother? Hey,
What happened, man?
No, I just had a question. The whole energy aspect of it. Do you guys think it becomes a sin stock now or no?
The energy aspect of it.
Well, I mean, investing into these data centers and knowing the consequences and the repercussions that comes out of investing into these data centers and stuff like that.
I think if I had to give my opinion, this space I've been following because I remember when a lot of this stuff was kicking off and we were covering some of these stocks. It's weird too because over the years we've probably forgot more opportunity than than we can imagine.
Right.
That turned around and became great entry level opportunities, right? Based upon they got their ticket punch. The next great wave of innovation was spurned by again the people who make the picks and shovels. Not just the one who housed the opportunity, right? So we always look at that first, right? Who makes the picks and shovels? Those are people who are always going to be in need. As an investment, you say, well, there's always going to be a need for this, right? The same way we look at NVIDIA as a pick and shovel type of company, even though they're expanding and buying a lot of stuff now, but that's the use case, right? With the data center like Cyrus, and there's so many of them now. The web of opportunity lies within the real estate, the energy consumption, the utility infrastructure. Again, then you start going more hardware in terms of servers, the server racks, the wiring, all those different components, right? When you strip down an investment thesis, that's how you look at it. You want to be very objective. Think about every aspect of opportunity that goes into, the making of that opportunity, right?
Yeah.
And from that, you say, well, which one demands the most, need, or which one has the most steady, use case. And that's how you want to look at it because we understand that the energy grid in this country is horrible.
Cooked.
For a first world country, we have a very poor infrastructure when it comes to electricity.
Right.
And it's been needed to be upgraded for years, right? For decades, essentially. So with that, you say, well, if you're going to need an extra, all these new extra kilowatts of power to be pushed through the system to kind of work with these data centers, well, you're going to have to start upgrading some of this stuff at some point, or you're going to come up with another energy source. And what we realized is, I don't know if you guys are familiar, but when we were talking about minerals, things like that, they're going to make these different components, and that's on the smaller side, but then also these SMRs, right? These small modular reactors, right? In terms of nuclear power, that's been floated a lot under this new administration as a new power source.
Oh yeah,
Because
we
right?
redoing one in Somerville. They getting ready to uproot that old one that was in Somerville here in the Carolinas, nuclear reactors, and
I'm
then
familiar with the
West.
ones down there. I used to work down in
Yep,
those areas when I was in
yep,
Columbia.
yep. That's the new.
We had some contracts in certain those parts down there, south of
Hmm.
Saluda, further down, of course.
Yep.
But
They
yeah,
Yeah, that's a new project, and Westinghouse just did an expansion. They got a 40-year license, and so
Mm.
they expanded so that their nuclear rods can last longer than 12 months to 18 months. Yeah, 16 to 18 months, and that was the biggest. So we passed that. That's what I'm saying. We passed that energy bill, and the problem was that they took out consumer protections, and um that's been the biggest concern. So everything you said in reference to energy and what's happening in your location up there in the water, that's the issues that we're going through right now in the Carolina. And we can, as a citizen, we've been voicing concerns and coming to the table, but the issue between corporate citizens and the government, they have that consent agreement that they've already signed between them and the companies. And so we really just look now, you're just fighting for consumer protection in some type of way, or for corporate fiscal responsibility to the community, all of which is what you just said. They said you could get jobs, but that's just on the infrastructure side of the construction, but after that there's nothing else.
I agree, and that's what I've been seeing across the board here, especially in my area. It's just it's crazy because, and I'm only saying that because again, the political landscape here is just a hot mess. And a lot of people that
Mhm.
they were even employing to build a lot of this stuff in infrastructure, again, they were using a lot of that kind of illegal labor, which we know how they get down. It's weird how all this stuff was happening, but none of the people who employ these people end up getting jammed up. It's funny
Mhm.
how that works. But nonetheless, I'm saying that because the opportunities, it did free up a lot of those projects that got stagnated when they began to do all this kind of, I don't know, maybe, the immigration mess and kicking people out. A lot of people began to, who were construction orientated people, they began to kind of find and work here and there. But the need for how people like Mark Zuckerberg and Bezos, a lot of those guys are always in this area, and out this area, they're canvassing a lot of this land. They're trying to buy their slice too because now they want to be a part of the infrastructure aspect of it as well, besides just the tech side. And that's what you're starting to see now, where companies like Simon Property Group and Blackstone, your normal enemies, you know, used to be, notorious for buying up a lot of properties, commercial that is, and just large swaths of land. Now that's starting to happen within the tech sector. You got the tech bros buying land now, which is
It,
crazy,
yeah,
Mhm.
isn't
crazy.
Taylor, isn't Mark Zuckerberg bought isn't he putting up a
I think
data
she
center in
dropped off.
Louisiana?
She
Oh,
dropped
she
off.
dropped off.
Yeah.
Oh, because I think he's putting up something in Louisiana as well.
Yeah. He putting up a data center.
Yes, I thought.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
Those are dudes. Those your old school real estate barons are becoming a hybrid now. Now you have tech real estate barons,
Mm-hmm.
and
I think at this point they have to be.
they're stuck if they don't because they overly leverage, right?
Yep.
Like they always
So
do. They always over leverage, and once they find out that they overspent, well, guess what? Who's on the hook for that?
yeah, yeah,
The
we are.
shareholders, right?
Yep.
We
And
are.
then the citizenry is always,
Yep.
but they cash out is nothing you can do, right?
Yep.
It's you kind of at the behest of hoping this project, comes to fruition and pays out like it could, or at
Yeah.
least, the incremental gain will be worth the weight to have capital tied up in these, these investments.
You
Right.
know
Um,
what? You know what's interesting? Um, the oh man, I done forgot what I was gonna say. God, I can't believe I forgot. Never mind.
Okay.
you having to do with real estate, the side of it, or just the tech side,
Man, it was oh my gosh.
and
It
policy, is the policy driven?
no, it wasn't the policy. It was golly. Oh man, I said I already mentioned Mark Zoo. I already mentioned that piece of it. That's okay. It'll come back. I have to listen to y'all a little longer. God.
Oh, no worries, no worries. But yeah, it's been an interesting year. I'm pretty sure, like I said, you guys are already on top of a lot of this stuff, and I
Mm.
just been compiling stuff again, doing my little so-called hiatus, and I was just like, the market is just, and I say the
I got
market,
it.
I mean, I'm just go ahead. Hmm.
I got it. What I was gonna say was interesting. I had the professor out of Clemson ask me, y'all had started talking about contracts again, and she asked me to do a session for contractors, and particularly those who are interested in doing infrastructure for nuclear facilities.
Mm.
I said, oh, okay. She was, and so she's like, look into all of the different types of infrastructure or different jobs centered around putting up nuclear facilities, and then tell me what you come up with, and I'll galvanize. So there's resources, but basically she was saying, I'll give you train some
You chopping up, Mo?
contractors.
You
Go
breaking up?
again. Let me go.
Okay.
But let me just do what I just said. The nuclear contractors,
Try it again.
infrastructure, those who build facilities. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Can you hear me
Yes.
better now?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. So she was telling me she basically wanted me to put something together to train those who are interested in building nuclear facilities, a nuclear reactor facilities, or regular, and getting young adults interested in that career field, and how to get their businesses certified, because she's a nuclear professor at Clemson.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was real interesting.
That's the way. That is your new energy. That is your new. It's weird, and I'm saying it now in hindsight, but I'm so excited to know that we spent a lot of time talking about a lot of the nerd stats at a time when a lot of us were really getting excited about investing in time, in terms of how to really go out there and hunt, and not just wait for the meal to get cooked in front of you to try to think about the investment aspect of it then, but more so what's driving it, what's behind it. And what we realized was that when we went through the whole COVID boom and we began to do all that data, data scraping for the companies who would benefit from, uh, the use case of coming up with a remedy for COVID. Well,
Mm-hmm.
what did we realize doing all that? We realized that the web was, number one, expansive, and then number two, who are the so-called, not necessarily even the the benefactors, but a lot of the companies that were basically next to dead, you know,
Mm-hmm.
how they submitted and started going after all this global government money.
Spec. Yep.
Mind you, it was not just America; it was global, because you had the WHO, you had
Yep.
all these, you had
Mm-hmm.
the consortiums all throughout Europe, China. Everybody had a vested interest, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And so it was expansive in terms of how now to start looking beyond just your own so-called neck of the woods for money. It's everywhere, right?
Right.
When there's something big that's on the table like that, and the data center perspective, and with all this AI stuff, well, guess what it's doing? It's retooling local jurisdictions, federal, global people now to start looking for different ways to even probably expand their own infrastructure to handle the future, what's coming. So now people rethinking their energy grids, people rethinking their water conservation. They're rethinking a lot of different things and how to make these things more durable, if you will. And if you guys remember how we broke down all the particular companies that would benefit under the Biden presidency, we broke all that stuff down.
Mm-hmm.
Well, guess what? The same was happening with Trump. We talked about the nuclear reactors, and we talked about companies like Oklo and NuScale, all them early on when they were like $7-8.
Yeah.
$3-4 here and there, and them stocks end up going over $100 plus, and some of them $50-60 a piece. And within all of that, you say, well, the filament or the intricate, the breaking down of all those opportunities too, it goes back to the grand old, safe investment in gold and silver.
Right.
So it's just weird when you look back and start thinking about the spider web of opportunity when you think about a particular industry, how you can just break it all the way down to its most least common denominator of opportunity as an investor. And I say the same thing when Sister Taylor was talking about real estate, and I'm like, now with AI, I've been able to really go on AI and just put out, tons of data about a particular area in the real estate and the historical aspect of it and everything, all that from the fingertips of my cell phone now. When before I would have had to go and hire somebody, or if you don't have the time, you need a good solid real estate agent who's up on their game.
Right.
And that will know how to canvas those different new, tech derivatives and give that client exactly what they need and save them that time and money if they don't have it. So there's always a need for something or someone.
That's a fact.
But it's interesting, guys. I'm excited to see where the next, the next scenario is coming.
She's back on here, Mo, if you want to ask her what you want to ask her.
I was saying that Mark Zuckerberg is
the Meta facility data center
in Louisiana. Was that in her area?
Yeah, it is.
Okay. Because then that would be the second one, right?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
I think it is.
Yeah.
And see, the worst part, so we talk about preservation, you talk about land preservation. That part right there is very difficult for like some of the elders to understand on. If you don't do anything with your land, they coming after that rural land for these data centers.
They want it. Shoot, boy. The lands that used to be owned by a lot of the farmers here, I know for sure. And some of the areas that I stayed at over here, they have been bought out. And they expanded that land and made more residential property. So what that tells me is there is a price that you can pay to get that land. Because normally these people hold on to that. That's, very near and dear to, farmers and, people who just own their land. They want that. But, if BlackRock come in or Blackstone or any other of these, big firms come in, they got a vested interest, they're going to ask you, what's your price? And guess what? Sometimes you ain't going to be able to refuse the price that they give you.
You know what's sad about that too, Over?
Yeah.
The people who are sitting at these city districts and down at the city hall, these people are brokering these deals without the citizens giving the proper votes.
Yep.
I witnessed that several scenarios with this data center stuff where you had one person playing God over residents, best interest. And after it was done and this stuff is signed, and these people went forward doing all this stuff, and the citizens found out after the fact, well, guess what? You finna spend all that time trying to catch up to what happened. By the time you get all that stuff uncovered, the building is already up. It's
Yep.
Yeah,
already
they
operable.
changing the codes.
Yep.
They
They
go.
changing the codes,
Yeah.
and
Yep.
it is. But this is the American way. We know this is
Yep.
how they operate. It's nothing new.
Yep.
But I say that to say this again, where I say, well, you know, I'm I'm a stickler for not being stagnant when it comes to being able to keep up with what's going on
Right.
in your community, but also technologically, where at some point you got to kind of keep your irons to the fire with the growth and expansion of certain things because it can become a scenario where it can hit your community.
Yep.
If you're not read up on those things, you won't know how to fight it before it becomes a problem, if it becomes a problem. But nonetheless, you need to have the first say so whether it's good or
Mhm.
not for your community. And but this area, it was just like these people here, they
Yeah.
don't care because majority of the people out here where I live,
You got that
80,
paper.
87, 89% or 90% of them are immigrants.
Yeah.
Immigrants, guys.
That,
I'm talking about
that,
some of them just
that,
got off the plane yesterday
yeah.
out of India, and they landed them right here. And they're
Mm-hmm.
going to work for Oracle and all these, these corporate hubs over here from Tyson Corner area up
Yeah.
to Reston, Herndon, all the data center stuff and
Yeah.
the Google, Amazon, all that stuff is right here.
Yep.
And these people don't have a vested interest in the land because they're immigrants.
They're not
Yeah.
staying long.
They
Yep.
Yeah.
can get the money and
They
leave,
coming in
right?
about
It's not a big you
three
get
three years and they out.
they
Yep.
can leave like it ain't nothing. So
We're
and
doing
they
the
putting them.
same thing right now.
They don't work
Yep,
visas. So
yep.
AE
Mhm.
speak. So you and Miss Taylor, y'all speak to. So let's talk about the other side of real estate. Then for those who don't properly deed their property over, you purchase the homes and you obtain the land and then life happens and paperwork don't properly get deeded over and then it gets sucked up. Um,
I was just gonna say that's the number one way that people are getting land here. Not because they have them coming up here and having, big corporations sign new bills, but mainly because the families aren't paying their taxes and or
Mm.
they don't know how to properly transfer a deed and they just go, oh, word of mouth, my grandma said I can have this land. Well, grandma dead and grandma didn't sign it over to you in her will and you are not on this deed. So
So
now
tax
this
liens.
land is up for sale for $2. And
Yep.
they gonna
That
take
is a
it.
horrible experience, and that happens more so than not than you guys can remember.
Facts.
I think
For
about it
sure.
because people didn't understand the value of doing simple. Because again, the word trust in Black community is now becoming a real major. I should say it's growing in our let's come more than ever now. Finally,
Yeah.
we started to
Yeah.
realize the power of trust.
Yep.
Uh, as opposed to just trying to do the word of mouth pass down stuff and not having family members carry over and keep up and track of the paperwork when it comes to grandma and grandpa houses and land.
Yep.
We saw that how it could be a nasty takeover when tech people come into your community and out you off your land
Mm-hmm.
because all the siblings and the people who don't have the proper wherewithal to know how to keep up with grandma paperwork. The
Yep.
case that happened down in South Carolina where Kyrie Irving had to get involved and help the lady. They were trying to take her land.
Yep.
And I don't know if y'all from me remember that. And
I
but that
remember.
happened.
It's one
Yeah,
that's happening in Philly right now, in Pennsylvania.
it's crazy,
They
right? These
came and
are I
got us
call it
shit.
Oh,
Yep.
heirloom
it,
land
it it's as
land
simple.
scenarios.
It's as simple as cutting the grass. I have a vet dealing with that now. He went to the hospital, property next door, and the people came and cut half his grass and took the property piece where his lake was, took the whole thing
Mm.
because they sustained the property for 90 days.
Ain't that funny how that works with the squatter rights and all this kind of
Yeah.
boundaries?
Yeah. I was
Y'all
just
know we
about to
had a
say
prominent
that.
case that happened in DC. I'm sure y'all know about it. Went viral about the lady that was squatting in the Airbnb.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
right down the street. Obviously, and the people that was involved with that,
Right.
it just went viral here, of course. And it was just like that's crazy how that is still an issue in 2025.
Yeah.
And see, that's the problem with again, no political spin to this or not, where you can bring in people, you know, through the means that they did it, but nonetheless, you put these people in these properties and they just began to just take properties and
Right.
just start squatting in them. And then
Yep.
guess what? They end up being eligible for squatters' rights.
Mm-hmm.
And you go down to City Hall, get the power cut on, you go down to get the water turned on. And it's like, how is this even able in 2025?
Yeah,
Are
crazy.
we
That is
talking about
crazy to me. And you can't
regular
kick
every?
them out. It's like you can't. You got to follow the law to excommunicate people out your own property. That is crazy to me.
It is. What'd you say, Price?
No, I'm just saying, are we talking about regular everyday people, or are we talking about corporations and expansion agendas with corporations and governments?
Everyday people.
Everyday
Okay.
people. Yeah. Yeah, we just had to deal with that down here with our project. Like we had squatters in some of the properties that we have in Fifth Ward, and it took us 6 months to get them people out. And we are doing the same thing that lady was doing with that other black lady that was squatting in the property. She in there running a whole candle business, you know, out of that lady's house. She going on vacations and trips. And squatting in that woman's house. She can't. She locking the woman out. You gotta call the police to get this done. They say they can't do nothing. That's crazy. I'll tell you what. I'm gonna do something about it. And you might not like it. You might have to take me in handcuffs, cause that's just crazy. They really want some civil unrest to go on because that ain't just. It's happening everywhere. Every news station ain't just reporting it, but squatting is a problem, like a big problem. People doing that, they pay for an Airbnb for like a month and they don't leave. They just stay there. So I'm paying the bills for this place and they get to stay there for free all this time. I gotta go to court, pay attorney fees, take off time from work, can't do, my rounds or whatever. I may have a regular job and I got to do all of this and worry about this person. So, I did this to make extra money, but it's costing me more money and time and a headache just to do it. And you mean to tell me all the police say, "Oh, we can't do nothing." Well, they can do this. They got this right. No, that's crazy. Nah, that make you not want to be in the business of doing that because you did it so you can make extra income. But now it's turning into a headache that you got to really fight for your own property. Nah, I can't do it. And it's another black person too. Nah, hell no. Nope, can't do it. And everybody got quiet when I start talking.
Oh no,
Talking that real stuff,
I'm
man.
yeah, it's true. I had another veteran, but he had I think he had gotten his 100%, and I think he thought that the realtor submits the paperwork to the assessor's office for the tax free, and or maybe he submitted and didn't get filed. Well, for whatever reason, that paperwork didn't get submitted, and so of course he owed taxes and he wasn't paying attention because he thought he was tax exempt. And please, they was definitely about to get him. Oh man, you talk about an uproar. It was
Yeah,
crazy. So
yeah,
I was just telling some people, hey, it's the end of the year. You all, take this time, look through your paperwork. We just had a matter of fact, the bank, we just had an incident yesterday where some scammers called one of the nonprofits and tried to wire money. And I suspect they had just enough information. But with the multi authentication these days, you can't
mm-hmm,
just do it. They have to send you a code. But they so good, they sent the code. And the person sent it to me, and I was like, "Why are you sending me this?" And they was like, "Well, you trying to get to account? It sent me a code." I was like, "No, I'm not." And they called. I guess after a period of time, they didn't get a response, so they called them, and they was like, "Yeah, somebody trying to do a wire transfer. I need you to verify." Such and such, and he was like, no, I'm not trying to do a wire transfer."
that's
Then they
crazy.
called back like they were the fraud department. Let me tell you, they had this thing down packed. They
Yeah,
called back like they were the fraud department and said, "Oh, somebody in Atlanta, tried to use your credentials. They couldn't verify, so we got him in handcuffs, right?"
yeah,
So the next morning, he called, which was this morning, and the bank was like, we didn't call you. And it was like, we didn't call, we didn't try to verify, and ain't nobody came in here trying to, portray to be you like a wire. And so they's like, send me what you received. So when they sent the message, they said that their number had been compromised, and that I think in the text, it had all the right verbiage, and then it had call this number ASAP if this is not you. And it was like, well, we would never put ASAP, so that right there tell us they spoof you.
Right.
Right.
And that the only reason they raised the alert the next day was because there was the amount of money that they was trying to pull, um or whatnot. So you guys be careful with your bank accounts, and if you haven't started changing your passwords, you might want to, because they are very savvy. They pulled that whole thing off yesterday, and it's only because if it probably would have went another way if he had responded to that call when they said we trying to verify your wire. He's like, I didn't do no wire, but let me call you back. Let me call Mo. And I know I didn't do it because they show was gonna get us. They was about to
Yeah.
wipe out their account.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gang season. It's always scam season, but I tell you that. They
But
was
they
in
need
Atlanta.
to,
Uh, well,
no.
he lives in Atlanta. The
Oh.
account um is in South Carolina, but he
Oh.
lives in Atlanta. So they must have spoofed his information.
Yeah.
Um, but
But the
it's a
two-factor
nonprofit.
work. The
Yeah.
Yeah,
two-factor
heck yeah,
authentication work. So
Yeah.
yes, yes,
Yeah.
it works.
It does work, but people don't be
Yeah.
wanting to do it because they don't be wanting to. Oh man, I ain't trying to do all that. I'm like, shit, you better.
Listen, I would turn that darn artifact on everything I have, even though majority of it already has it. But I still went, and I was changing passwords like crazy. I was like, they ain't about to get me.
Yeah. Well, yesterday I went and checked all my brokerage accounts. I had to make sure that all my numbers updated and all of that because that should be happening. It be happening a lot. I mean, I've seen too many times where elderly women be getting they get robbed the most out of everybody.
Yeah.
They get scammed the most out of everybody. This is documented, and people don't think it can happen to them, and it definitely can. You for sure can get hacked. I mean, I had it happen to me before. The little PayPal emails they be trying to get people with, the text
Yeah.
messages. Yeah, they getting sophisticated with it, but you know what I'm saying? That's why you gotta be able to peep the game and know what's going on. You gotta know all the new scams damn near. So um
My brokerage accounts, I never really got any emails from them, but I
well,
know
I'm
the regular
saying like
ones.
you gotta make sure your stuff is updated, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Because they will hit you. They will get you for sure. So I do that, I just did that yesterday just to, double check because scamming be happening. Um, but what y'all was saying about, having a trust and, having your paperwork done and making sure, whoever you designate to be a primary beneficiary, secondary, or contingent, you need to make sure you got this stuff written down. I'm not saying you may want to get with an attorney if you really don't know what you're doing, but you need to have this stuff documented, whether it's a revocable or irrevocable trust. You need to have this stuff down, impact, sealed away, so you can protect your stuff. Um,
Oh, and you said something earlier. You said VA 1 year. What did you mean by that? You said I had just did my VA 1 year, something like that.
So initially, how you get if you do a VA home for property,
Uh huh.
if because we get the best incentives, perspective, they require VA requires, and it's federal too. It's backed by both, but that you have to live in the property for at least 1 year, one calendar year, before you can put it up for rental.
Oh, that's why they told me I could get another house. I was trying to figure that out. I was
So,
like, why am I eligible again?
yep, and the great thing about that is that for us, at least for veterans or people, fall underneath that criteria, the opportunity really to expand on your portfolio is really good, especially if you're active and still moving about, right? Because that was our whole goal, was to try to, everywhere we went, let's see if we can, get in the game. And it was just sometime where the market just wasn't, the best to do it, and it wasn't just economically feasible to do it. But you always look back in hindsight, maybe we should have did it anyway, and just kind of buried it, because the refi opportunities will come around at some point. And but that's the whole thing with now with people who are trying to, again, expand on their portfolio, their housing portfolios, where you saw a lot of these government officials, all that kind of dirt began to come out about all these sitting Congress people and Senate, sitting DAs that was out there, bending the laws and buying up all this property that
Mhm.
me and you could never do, that we could never get away with. It shined a light on exactly how, well, we know the system is beyond corrupt, of course, but it's funny how you can do everything right and still get penalized, right? Or you still have to go through all this unnecessary red tape, and the criminal element just has ease of access to opportunity. It baffles again that we're still playing by a lot of antiquated, rules where those things can be, be a problem. And I'm like, man, imagine had we, did it the straight corporate way and just didn't have this military, background, especially when it came to real estate, whatever, you really had to, be able to shake and move, right? You have to be able to shake and move, have access to capital. And it's funny because in this day and age, when you have people who have issues with losing their houses because, for tax, they ain't paying the taxes, this, that, and the third. I'm like, well, who in their right mind would not have an escrow on a housing purchase? Even if you're trying to get taxes status, if you're not coming in under LLC or some kind of special, clause where you're getting exempt status, it's like paying child support before the baby get here if you know you're going to have an issue with that baby mother. Go ahead and start, get yourself on it before you go down that route. And at least you can always take it off later and be covered, as opposed to trusting it. It's like when people who went down with the ARMs, right? Adjustable rate mortgages. Well, guess what? When the economy turns from sugar to we saw what happened with that during the GFC. And that was a lot of criminal subprime lending contracts and stuff too. But it was just a perfect conditions for everybody just to get scammed. And the investment bankers were making so much money, passing around all these tax liens, and they were just selling tax liens or selling accounts, or credit accounts like running water, and these people were picking them up like for pennies on the dollar and raising people rates, from a 7% to a 14%. It was just crazy that we heard during that time. But it just shows you again just how, like, there's the way to do business in this day and age. It really requires that you just say, you know what? What's the most easy ironclad way I can get all this stuff done? If I have to pay a little extra because the system, is warranting it, then you may have to do so, just to make sure your paperwork is right, because you don't want to be in a scenario where you have a transferable, or a floating deed where a company might not have been founded and they go out of business, and now someone is holding your deed. You're going to sell the property, and you got to locate the deed. And you paid the services in your paperwork, but guess what? Now you got to track down that company. That has happened, and it's so many different things you got to be cognizant of when you go into a real estate market. But if you do everything again right, you should be good. You should be good. And I'm saying that because you don't want to cut corners. It's just not worth it in this day and age. It's not worth the headache unless you have the level of capital and attorneys to help you navigate it. You know what I'm saying? It's really, really it's really crazy out there these days, this day and age. And, with so many people, again, like we talked about earlier, these tech bros now want to become real estate bros. Well, we saw what happened with the last Airbnb bros. What happened with them? They got railroaded.
Mm-hmm.
All the people that went up and bought all the Airbnb properties before COVID, what happened to them? They got crushed.
Yep.
They got
Damn
crushed.
it, them things.
And they thought they was going to be a part of the next big wave, right? Oh, no, this is great because vacation and this people want to just, and the market changed on a dime, and those guys got stuck holding that bag. A lot of them still messed up.
Yep.
But yeah, it's important to know, again, you got to be flexible with the market. Again, not exact science we like to say, but you definitely better know how to protect your six. Military term, your backside, of course.
Facts.
Because then again, this is not the market to do that. And I'm saying that because the political climate is only going to get more ratcheted up more and more going forward. We're not going back to the old ways of how we look at government. Government has become an entity now. It's big enough where it can survive literally on its own, left to its own devices. And that's scary. Because it takes away the power of people's ability to, pick and choose their market, pick and choose their right to liaison within their own rights, as opposed to waiting on government. And that can become a problem when it comes to the biggest things that you're going to deal with as a purchaser in this country. What? Real estate. Right? The greatest purchase you ever make in this country is real estate.
Mm-hmm.
And the greatest investment is your children, right? Being able to produce a child and nurture it all the way up until 18 and provide it with everything it needs to sustain itself once you leave here, or even to the point where they can take it and run with it.
Right.
And I'm like, well, those two things alone, cars and all that stuff, that's discretional, But a roof over your head and children, if you want to have a family, those two things are non-negotiable. You need to learn everything you can about those two entities.
Yep.
And from that, it'll help you become more solid in dealing with those small things, like again, discretional spend and whatever, certain investments or whatever. The security aspect of that, again, with KYC, you talking about that earlier about security issues. Now, it's better to be safe than sorry. I guess that's my point I'm making. But yeah, it's a lot, man. It's a lot. It's a lot.
I agree.
Thankfully, you guys are on y'all square, and you guys been putting in that work for so long. Experience has definitely taught us a lot.
Man, what is going on? It's going on about a 10-piece next year, right? 2026.
Yeah, you say again? Oh,
I think it's been what?
Yep.
It's going on 10 years.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
2026, and 2016.
yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. Again, I always say, when you hear about a lot of people when we watch these content, creators or whoever, this, that, and the third, who, and you say, well, those who've been around for a while, putting in work and watching how they've morphed into the beings they've become, and who's been consistent in terms of keeping a fair and straight message,
Right.
where it gives people the ability to see things, from a very lucid perspective, where there's again, you're not trying to teach people how to cut corners. You're not trying to teach people how to, do all these intricate backflips and this, that, and the third.
Yep.
Those are the people that you don't see. Because their message won't stand. It won't stand when it comes to truth to power, right? You got to give people actionable intel, and you got to give people stuff that they need to be very cognizant of, where it makes them feel like they're invested to do the hard work to get every aspect of the information down point, so they won't have an issue in the future. I would say, I can honestly say, you guys have done that. We all have been very, complicit in giving people really good actionable intel, teaching them that the research is more important than the end result.
That's a fact.
And as the thing goes, you can take that to the bank, because when it's done that way, you can take it to the bank and not have no issues. And so salute to you guys, man. Again, that's the whole 10-year decade that you just really brought that full circle over. That's a good point. That's a lot of information.
Facts. Yeah, people should know by now, man, that it's only valuable information coming out from this airwave over here, from us. So ain't no manipulation tactics, no cutting corners, shortcuts, or ain't no buzzwords and stuff over here that other people be using. So it's authentic. We gain value by sharing the information and everybody else applying it. So that's the value in going back and fetch and bringing it back to the family and everybody taking that information and growing from it and doing the same thing. Each one teach one.
I'm excited for these new folks, man. These young kids, and this and I say young kids, but these young adults, I'm gonna call them what they are.
Right.
And the Sister Taylor again, someone within your network as well, over Chris and everybody that you don't work with over the time, Sister Monica and all those young people who've now going on to do things and get themselves saturated into the markets, and not just the investment side, but also just the work markets themselves and corporate markets. And it's weird when you look back and then you say, well, I'm doing this to pay it forward, and these guys sat and listened and they took that information and heeded it, and they just really got some good tracks to run on these days. That's the part that really gets you excited, because I hear it a lot. People message me out the blue. I'm sure y'all get it too. Email me out the blue or call me out the blue, and they're like, "Man, I remember back doing the Discord days, or this or that, or this particular one you did. It resonated, and I did this, and because of that, I'm here now."
Yep.
And you say that's what it's all about.
Yeah.
Because it is a truly a peer-reviewed opportunity, funnel.
Yep.
Everything we do is a peer-reviewed funnel. It's no hierarchy, it's no leadership. It's
Right.
The opportunity is the leader. What you're embarking on that's what you submit yourself for. And you just want to have all the information you possibly can, at your disposal to access it. And so that's where you guys come in and just being able to say, hey, look here, look over here, do this, do that, real live experience cases, use cases. So again, that's salute to you all going into the next calendar year here, because it's been truly a great grind watching, our level of knowledge growth and just, any tangible growth that comes from it. It's good to see that those things are happening.
Right. Brandon.
Yeah, my little nephew, custodial account, doing his thing. He be thinking he balling.
Who, Zion?
Yeah.
That's
When I
beautiful.
always tell him, boy, you broke, you don't have no money. He be like, oh yes I do. I be like, no you don't. He be like, I got an investment account. You won't even let me get to it. I be like, oh yeah, I forgot.
That's it.
That's
It's
the
a beautiful
idea.
thing when you can pocket watch yourself.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's a beautiful feeling. I'm gonna pocket watch myself. I'm like, yeah, I'm growing. Little small steps. Again, to get the young kids excited for that, because they
Yeah.
have a long timeline of opportunity. For us, it's you get older, you got to be very cautious, right? For a lot of reasons.
Yeah.
But younger people, they can afford to have those, those mishaps and those, come to discipline moments, and it's great, it's good seeing that. But at least they're trying, right? You got them in the right avenue, and then guess what? You done already won, because they're talking about the things that's going to help really, expand their life, their livelihood, and it's not based on, cultural norms and sociological, talking
Yeah.
points. They talk about business. They talk about growth. They talk about opportunity. They're talking about, independent owner contract, sole proprietorship. They talk about all the things that you would get excited about as you was a parent, or you was an uncle or auntie or grandparent, whatever, or even just a concerned mentor. You hear those kind of talking points from a kid, you win it.
Right.
Oh yeah.
They cutting on Bloomberg TV, in the mornings. That's they don't want to watch a cartoon. I'm watching Bloomberg.
Yeah, he
Especially when
actually
you
has
see it too.
a
Yeah,
class is called personal finance, and that's why I was telling people. People keep saying they're not teaching financial literacy in school, but they actually are. They just naming the classes. The way that the classes are named, you would never know what they're doing there unless you go and find out. Um, and Zion had a segment on the stock market. And when he did well on it, his teacher asked me, how did he know? He said, oh, my aunt done taught me how to invest a long time ago. I know that much.
right.
so
That's right.
so he was able to do the basics, and his friends was like, well, how do you learn it or whatever? So, he still has his Acorns account as well. So,
Yeah.
you know, some of the, and that's what I tell people, you might want to find out which child is learning in school. Because I actually had to go because I didn't know what the class was. And then when I saw it, the curriculum, I'm like, oh, snap. They teaching y'all everything, and they put them through this simulator
Yep.
scenario where they give them a salary, and they have them. There's these little simulations where you have to pick out what type of house you want to buy, how much you want to pay, your car note, and it's funny to listen to them break it out because the way they communicate to you when they trying to spend their money is not how they try to spend their own, honey. They be cutting corners and everything. It's too
That,
funny.
that. It's interesting watching it.
Real talk.
Yeah,
That
so
is awesome.
I told Sanaya, I said, hey, you're gonna Zion about to get his car, so you're gonna go get a job while you're in school, and you gotta pay your own insurance and your own phone bill. So she was like, well, how much is that? So I told her the amount. She was like, oh my goodness, growing up, that's gonna be half of my check, Timo. I said, well, how do you think I feel when I have to pay it? So you're gonna have to give up some of your coins, shorty.
Right. They
But
only knew.
so Yep. So the only thing I did, I just had him pull out the vision board, broke out the calculators. Let's chart it out. I said never
That's
get
it.
anxiety. Always plan. Put a budget together.
That's it.
And you know how we
Price
used to do
is
them
information.
allotments in the military. Do them allotments. Get to another bank account. Put the money over here. Let that pay for the bills. Keep everything else over here. Have your investment, and you in there.
I
Mm-hmm.
live by that thesis today because I always tell myself, man, had I took heed at a time when someone was trying to put game in me, when I first touched down to my first station, it was like, look, I had a guy that was a lieutenant colonel. He took a liking to me. And it was like, you're going to be squared away, Addison. You're going to be squared away. I was like, where you think? He said, I'm going to give you some priceless information. And I'm like, okay. It's like, look, every time you get paid, you take out $100 allotment and send it towards some kind of form of investment. And it sounded larger than life at the time. But again, if you don't get that steady, drumbeat of that information, it'll sound great at the moment, then it'll fall on deaf ears as soon as your budget hits you up saying, let's go to class 6 and go to EM club.
We ain't never lying.
Or the NCO club. We go in the club, we go into class 6 and go in the club. But it makes so much sense. Again, I still to this day I internalized that because that was wisdom speaking at a point where they're like, you got your whole career ahead of you. And here it is, a guy that's been in the military, over 18 plus years. You got to listen to that, right? He's telling you what he would have done if he had chance you over.
Right.
And it's interesting how that worked now because now we are those older people who are now trying to give those youngers that same level of advice.
Yes.
And I don't really call it. It's not even advice. It's life lesson. It's life. These
Sustainability
life.
plan.
Assessment. Barometers of. You need this in your life. If you in a position where you can leverage opportunity, this is what you need to be trying to do. And so again, I can't stress it enough. You guys have been doing the work. man, these kids benefiting. If they tuned in at any one point, they're benefiting,
Right.
and they have benefited. Past tense. And so again, endless salutes to that. And I know this upcoming year is going to be just as great. And I was kind of going through a lot of stuff too, and because I'll be getting ready to make another shift coming up in the next 6 months. We are moving to another command. Well, she's moving into a command. Say that.
Okay.
And so we're headed back down towards the Alabama scenario. After being in this area here in 6 years or whatever, and it's like, okay, yeah, I'm kind of going through all that again. It's like we're there now. At the end of all this, and it's like, okay, it's just been one heck of a ride. And it's like all the information we've been learning now in terms of getting prepared for a retirement mindset, even though it would seem that way, but it's just a retirement from service work.
Right.
Active scenario in terms of her scenario at this point. It's really, really, it's been a very what's the word? It's been I say the aspect of the 2 hard. It's been proper placement, meaning being in the right place at the right time, or in a place and making the best out of it, given the due diligence and the discipline to make things work. I'm really happy that I've had awesome people like you guys, and good people I can look to for insight, intel, or just to have an ability to network with great people. Because again, I realize just how important that is. Even for people who have backgrounds, and they may deal with real estate, may deal with finance, may deal with government contracting and different things that comes along with the business side of things. It's good to have good people around you.
Right.
So again, salute to you all, and I'm looking forward to being more present in a lot of more moments when we had them before. It's just y'all know the last 5 years have kicked my behind. And I can only begin to
You
tell
leaving the
y'all,
snow, coming back to the sun, huh?
yeah, man, it's been a rough 4 years, 5 years now, and that's just part of life where I'm at in my life, in my age, I guess. You know how stuff go. Y'all know I ain't even got to say it. It's just at that point now where a lot of that family starts to fall, and you got to deal with that.
Yeah.
But it's good because again, you say when we say that everything that we learned from those great vessels when they were present, it's our turn to carry that baton further. We just build on their works, build
Right.
on their
Yes, sir.
highlights, and grow from their so-called in their mindset, things that they would probably be the best that they never got completed, and we just keep grinding. So
That's
it's
true.
no different. It's no different for all of us.
So,
So I'm excited for that.
you like to fish now, and all these changes with this water contamination. How is that affecting your fishing?
He's still fishing. He just
Yeah,
gonna
what
do it
you
from sideline.
catch it? Oh,
Well,
catching and throwing back.
I will say a good thing about it. I'm still doing the rabbit stuff. So I throw them back unless someone wants them. But I am avid researcher when it comes to, again, just dealing with changes in patterns, right? Weather, contaminants, because this area here is weird. Because if you guys have any kind of insight on the DC area, like the lower Potomac as opposed to the upper Potomac, when we say it's like New York people, they'll know when you say the upper Hudson or lower Hudson.
Right.
Upper Hudson is the clean area. That's Poughkeepsie. That's new with Newborn. That's like upper New York. Nyack, up way up, northern New York. Lower Hudson, that's gonna be down towards the boroughs and the Manhattan, where all the bodies get thrown in at.
Yep.
The catfish are a lot fatter in the lower Hudson than they are the northern. If y'all catch my drift.
He said the
It-
catfish are much fatter.
the rats and the pollutants that go into the water, and everything kind of mutates a little bit.
Mhm.
But that's true story. True story. It's odd how they act. Again, it's the stories where they cut up a catfish and his fingers in their stomach.
Right.
It's weird, But again, that's that's the world we live in. Well, at least in this scenario. But that's so important too when it comes to fishermen because our thing is we want to preserve the water so we can have the luxury to have access to great fisheries. The same way a basketball player want to preserve what the courts, the equipment. Y'all know how these people who have a fancy for a certain thing, they value the security of that.
Right.
Right. With us, it's what if it's investments, and we value the security of that, the importance of protecting it. If it's just information, it's the same reality. And so fishing is the same for me. I'm a stickler. I love it. You guys know I got my little boat scenario at my last birthday, well, not the 2024 birthday, and it just was just it was like, man, okay, I'm here now because I'm at a point now I just want to be able to enjoy that part of my life, and it's about to happen again, especially when we move down towards Alabama because there's a great fishery down there. But I look forward to being able to share that, with other people. And knock on wood, I know we hadn't talked in a while, but I just came off a 2 birthday charter scenario. We went down to Panama City here about 3 weeks ago. We were down there doing some offshore fishing with friends of the family, and a group of guys met. 2 of them, was already known me and the other guy, but they brought in some of his family and some other guy. But he was all veterans, all ex-military guys, and there was only one of them still active. So we had 2 Vietnam vets in the mix, and then the rest of us were kind of younger than my age, mid-40s and early 50s and mid, some of them close to 60.
Right.
But it just weird, how we all just came together and we just had the greatest time ever. And this is the stuff that we talk about when you say bucket list stuff. When people say you work hard so you can play harder.
Yeah.
The ability to do stuff like that. Like most tech CEOs, how do they do proper R&R? Where they go out on a yacht and do deep sea fishing and stay out to sea for 7-8 days. Everything's furnished from the boat. They ain't got to leave, right? They got helicopter, lands, small boats to run off on shore, and they go out and go fishing.
Right.
They go out and do, the Yukon excursion. They go do the Great Salmon Run, up in the northern, northwest region.
Mm-hmm.
They go to the Caribbeans and do, tuna, and a Kubara snapper. So, again, it's weird because those are people you see that do these charters now. If they don't own their own boat, they go out and do stuff like that. They get up with some of their buddies and they go hang out in nature. Like who knew? That stuff used to be fanciful when I was a kid, but now I'm seeing it. But like, man, it's so exhilarating and so relieving.
Yeah,
and
man.
you guys do it when y'all take y'all trips, right? Mo and Chris, y'all gotta go down to Cancun. Y'all do your little things when y'all were doing that. Remember?
Yeah.
I'm sure
They
y'all
down
know,
there
but
not, Chris.
yeah, it's that. So I just say, man, more of that in the upcoming years for all of us. I'm speaking that to the universe.
Yeah.
Because we need ways to detox, but also enjoy the moment. And putting in work and doing stuff. But if it's just to help, again, reset yourself, rebalance yourself, and come back out. But those things, I would say, I employ people to look into opportunities to do stuff like that. Ain't nothing better than nature, because during COVID, guess what? Nature was the hottest ticket on the planet.
Yep.
When you were locked in your house, the hottest thing in the planet was just to go outside.
Yeah.
And be away from everybody else and enjoy nature. Nature began to take back its planet.
Yeah.
Animals running around everywhere. Like, man, what's this?
Wasn't the water beautiful? I remember those
The
pictures.
water was
The
there
water
you
was
go. The
turning
water was
colors.
cleaner.
I was like, what?
Animals were all downtown again. It was like I Am Legend.
I
The movie I Am
told
Legend with
y'all.
Will Smith.
I told y'all when we had to sit down for 2 or 3 weeks, the earth changed a little bit. Like we actually got rain up here. We actually got a good decent amount of snow. I'm like, what is this?
Just imagine that. how invasive we are to a planet that we're a part of by all intents and purposes. However, the shared interest of space between nature, primal nature, and so-called modern nature in us,
Right.
and what that looks like in a moment where we shut down all our mechanisms and technologies for a month, let alone, if you get a year out of that, what would nature do? So it's always a constant battle for space. Again, I say that to say being able to share the land, with the animals, with nature, period, but also find ways to find solace in it. I think it's priceless. So again,
I agree, man.
put that on your list, guys. Learn your new craft when it comes to being out in nature. If it's just throwing a frisbee, if it's
Look,
fishing, it's the greatest thing ever. Of course, in my eyes, I'm always going to, port that because I love it.
yeah,
But it's nothing better than that. As you get older, find moments to do stuff like that. Take your girlfriends, if you're a female, go do something you'll never do on your own without a guy present. Take a
yeah,
fishing trip.
I did
Book a charter
Oh,
trip with your girlfriends and go fishing.
yeah.
I
Do
I told
did.
my
something.
I
dad,
learned
Total off script.
watercolors.
yeah,
but I
You'll
know
be
you didn't
surprised.
say go frisbee.
Even
I
with
learned
that.
I learned watercolors. I learned
do
how to
some do,
draw.
do some different things, guys. Challenge yourself.
yeah,
And you'll be so surprised what that does. It unlocks more of that childhood nature in you that you don't want to lose. Because the older you get, the more you try to hang on to that childhood energy.
yeah,
It's important. And you see that every day with these big tech CEOs. They got
yeah.
to start doing all these young folk stuff again. Like, aren't you too old for that? Says who? Like,
Yeah.
who tells you that inner child and you got to die just because your age gets older? That's dumb.
Yeah.
Like,
I
that's
tell
dumb. You
everybody
want to
that.
get a lot of money to go sit in a great corner with a cigar and some cognac and just sit in the dark all day for 6 hours. Like, no,
Yeah.
that
I'm
ain't the
like,
dope life
man,
to me.
I'm gonna
Go out.
laugh and joke and play around
Hello.
until
Enjoy
I'm
your
gone.
family.
Yep.
Those moments you won't get back again. And look,
Fact.
I just say that I'll leave y'all with that because I got to get ready to get out of here. But I know
Yeah.
you guys already move like that in a lot of ways. If not, let me be the first to ignite that in you because time is precious. And the older you get, family members, when they begin to kind of, go through their transcendence and you start realizing those moments, those things that will come to you first. You always going to remember the greatness of the smiles and the laughter and where you were. If it was out in nature, if it was at a carnival or a fair, if it was just hanging out, whatever it is, that's that childhood memory coming back alive. And you
Mhm.
don't want to lose that by being overly anal with the way you value and view life,
Right.
which is a curse and a crutch, if you ask me, because a lot of people will go to the grave being, uh, too hard on themselves in a way where they want to allow themselves to enjoy life and have fun, right?
Yeah.
Even if you're still on your journey, you haven't accomplished what you wanted, you still don't shut down your ability to go out there and detox and enjoy life too along the way. Because it don't take a whole lot to do nothing. As one of our favorite quotes are, it don't take a whole lot to do nothing. You got to be
Mhm.
resourceful and be smart about it. And with doing so, it'll revitalize you and put you back on the chessboard a whole lot better than what you was before.
Yep.
And so I just say again, benefit from it where you can. And again, I know,
Dang.
we're going to meet up again and we're going to have many more of these. I
What
look forward
happened?
to coming back into the
Oh,
program
dropped
again.
off.
Okay. Oh, yeah, probably technical stuff. And I know it's around that hour for a lot of people. So I'm getting ready to get out of here myself and go watch a movie with the family. So I'm just speaking about that. And we're going to go watch a movie. So I enjoyed it as always, guys. It's an honor. I look forward to the next meeting, a meeting of the mind. And again, like always, I'm gonna keep you guys lifted up. I always do, even when I'm not around. Just believe me, I'm always lifting you guys up. I speak about you guys a lot, especially with other people. And when it comes to, as most people say, they tribe. We have our own little so-called version of that, or village, as I like to call it. But it's good to hear you guys and hear from you guys. And definitely look forward to hearing from you guys in the future.
And I appreciate that, Over. Appreciate that a lot.
Anytime, man. It's an honor, man. So y'all just keep me in the loop, man. Next time y'all do the live, I'm if I'm available, I'm here. I'm here.
Gotcha.
All right. I'm gonna get out of here. and send you guys a happy calendar new year. You know, I don't celebrate it really, but I'm gonna say it anyway. Happy
Right.
calendar new year.
Happy calendar New Year to you too, man.
That's awesome. My best, guys, and I'll talk to you guys in the future.
All righty.
Peace, family. Peace, everyone.
Peace, everybody.
Uh oh.
So better get that.